What's up, you guys? So I'm at the library and getting ready to get out, and I just wanted to give you guys like a really quick tidbit about an epiphany I had while I was working out this morning. So to give you a little backstory, I went through a very difficult season in my life where just everything kind of changed. I was married. I now am not. I was in okay shape. I wasn't, in my opinion, very healthy because I wasn't intentional about being healthy. And, it's just very, very surprising to me how much you can realize you love yourself when you truly love yourself, and how much you can realize you didn't love yourself before. And I never realized, people say all the time, like, you don't love yourself, or, oh, that person doesn't love themselves. And it's entirely possible for you to be walking through your life and think that you are being true to yourself and loving yourself and tenacious about loving yourself, and then later look back and realize that that's not the case. And I know for me, my mom, who's in heaven, she used to say to me all the time, hindsight is always 2020. And I never knew what that meant. Hindsight is always 2020. What does that mean? And it means that you can always look back at a situation and say, this is what I should have done. And you could see it so clearly. But when you're in the situation, you can't tell. And so for me, I can honestly say, when I went through everything I went through, I didn't think that I was depressed or anything. You still couldn't tell me I was depressed, but I think I was in survival mode. I was definitely tired of fielding all of the questions. People feel so entrenched in your life when you share anything on social media. I mean, anything. If you change your relationship status one time, people feel like the minute you change it back, they can ask you why. And I feel like social media has completely removed all of our boundaries for decency and removed our judgment about what we should be asking people about their personal business and what we shouldn't be. And so for me, I got into this place where I just kind of wanted to be under a rock. I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I definitely didn't want to discuss what was going on with me personally. And I just got in survival mode. I was going to work every day. I was, showering and washing my face and stuff, but it was just very, very basic. I wasn't taking my supplements like I needed to. I wasn't taking, some of my meds like I needed to. And I was definitely suffering in the process. Everything started suffering. My skin started suffering. My eczema got crazy bad, and just you name it, everything in my life kind of started to go off the rails because I just wasn't paying attention. I was just getting through whatever, putting my head down and surviving. And so I just feel like sometimes we get caught in survival mode, or people say, they do these big grand hoops, right? When they're up and they're worshiping God, and they're like, you're a survivor. You're a survivor. Yeah, you're a survivor, and you can survive. But survival means living through something. It doesn't mean that that's where you're supposed to live. And I think a lot of times we forget that survival mode is not where we're supposed to live. We're supposed to kick into survival mode when we have to and kick back out into abundant living. And that's definitely not what I was doing. And it took me really taking a retrospective look at myself and my love for God and his love for me, and understanding that relationship far more than any other relationship. I can honestly say today, I value my relationship, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but it's the truth. I value my relationship with God so much more today than I ever have, to the point where there could be no one, I don't care if you gave me life, there could be no one that would trump his position in my life. And I can honestly say that there was a time when my allegiance to God and what his will was for my life was predicated upon my personal happiness at the time. If I felt like I was happy with everything, then sure, I was willing to wake up that extra hour earlier in the morning, or set aside some time with him. I've always wanted to hear God's voice, and I always felt like I never could, and I never could understand it. And I think, in the final analysis, it's because I wanted to hear God's voice, but not louder than mine. I wanted to listen to God as long as he said whatever I was willing to do. And if he said something I wasn't willing to do, I wasn't willing to listen, because I knew the moment that I acknowledged that I heard him, I would be responsible and accountable for my actions. And I wasn't ready for that. So I allowed myself to kind of get stuck in this spot. And here I am today. And I am rebuilding and doing things that are true to me and loving me and enjoying that. And I value it so much more now. And I wish I would have learned the lesson 10 years ago, because a lot of things that happened wouldn't have happened. But at the same time, those things have made me who I am today. And this person is far more whole than that person ever was. So I think when it's all said and done, I just wanted to encourage you guys not to throw shade on your journey. Like, it's a reason why you go through the things you go through. But at the same time, you need to make sure that in every single instance, you are being intentional about seeking God for what's best for your life, putting him in his position, not taking him out for anyone, and constantly reassessing to make sure you're being true to yourself. It is okay to say no to other people's will for your life. And there was a long time when I did not know that. And I would do everything I thought other people wanted me to do. And the truth of the matter is you are called to be a steward. And not just a steward over your finances, but over your family, over your relationships, whatever it is. Money, talents, all of that are things you're called to be a steward over. And if you're not being true to yourself, you're not being a good steward, and you will be taken advantage of. The hardest lesson I ever had to accept was that I felt like I was a victim when I wasn't one. If anyone ever came into my life and did me dirty and did me wrong, I invited them to do it. When they showed me who they were, I still hung around. When they invited shadiness into my life, I invited the shade. I should have said, that's not going to work for me. I'm not happy with that. That's not the kind of person I am. But I didn't. I sat and I went through it, which means I wasn't a victim. Their behavior may have been inexcusable, but you're not a victim if you're volunteering. No one is running up to you with a gun in a dark alley, dragging you in the back and saying, for the next 8 years, I'm going to ruin your life. Nobody's doing that. Okay? So if you're going through something and you feel like you're being victimized, the moment you realize that you're inviting the victimization, then you're no longer a victim. That was my biggest deliverance. That I am not a victim. I am not broken. What has happened to me has happened to me. It does not make up who I am. It is not the sum total of who I am or what I will do in this earth. So I just wanted to encourage you, love on you guys, and let you know you need to be true to yourself. Everyone who cannot deal with it will be just fine, because God has great things in store for you, and his plans for you are so much bigger than you can even imagine. They will take you places you never thought you'd be. And I can't wait to hear the story. So remember, I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. Have an awesome, awesome Sunday. And I know that great things are in store for you. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Bye.